Hello all, welcome to News Analysis. So today we are going to first deal about the session which is from the editorial. Okay, so this is from page number 8 and this news is mainly relevant in geography, environment as well as in our economy too. So this is mainly about the infrastructure development. So it's focusing on the hill stations or the Himalayan regions. So these all are mainly based on the recent issues like flood, like okay, so in the from the context of the news, that have been happened in North India. So what will happen? So once after the flood, there is lots of destructions. So because of these destructions and this continuous flood, it have evoked concerns in the people. Okay, the concerns are which is about the carrying capacity of the Himalayan region. Here, the news is mainly considering the hill stations and the Himalayan states. So what do you mean by carrying capacity? So carrying capacity means it's actually a concept and which is mainly derived from the population biology. And this is mainly focusing on the quantity of a species that can thrive sustainably in a defined ecosystem. So here the infrastructure development is mainly connecting with the carrying capacity. So what will happen to the carrying capacity? How the Himalayan regions as well as the hill stations will deal with all these infrastructure or the buildings. Okay, so these are the news. So what is the main reason that is affecting badly in carrying capacity? That is a population explosion. So if the population is exceeding its capacity or its limits, what will happen? It will lead to the natural decline in numbers. So just like the invasive species. So we know that if an invasive species is present in a particular environment, it will entirely destruct that grazing ecosystem. Okay, and also the challenges. So here the challenges are related with the balancing the rising populations and the infrastructure needs and the precarious geography. Means it is mainly related to the Himalayan regions as well as the hill stations. Here the population is rising as well as the infrastructure needs are coming more. But moreover, when we are only focusing on these two things, we are just forgetting the geography. Okay, because the geographical pattern is not taking all these infrastructure together. So that's the reason for the recent hazardous or the environmental disasters that occurred in the past. And about the case study, there was flood in Uttarakhand in 2013. So once after that flood, Supreme Court had appointed a committee of experts. It is to evaluate the role of hydropower projects in the state. So this is the main aspect that took by the Supreme Court once after the Uttarakhand flood. And also what happened after the committee report. So the committee report influenced a reduction in the proposed hydro projects, but they failed to restrict the road widening projects. Okay, so what will happen if there is a road widening projects? It will carve the mountain sides. Okay, so what will happen? It will leads to a uh, disability, like the stability of the topography or the stability of the mountain region will be lost. And also there was an unexpected washing away of the roads in Himachal Pradesh too. So all these things are focusing on the uh, Himalayan regions as well as the hill stations, their poor carrying capacity. And the measure taken by the government, they just setting up a 30-member technical committee. Okay, so we have to focus on the scientific approach as well as either the state how to weigh the higher cost of that comes from the building more sustainability and minimizing the risk of denizens or designate regions of no-go zones. So the state governments have to focus on these particular aspects rather than the central government. So it will reduce or it will control the infrastructure development in a particular way. Hence we can reduce the disaster like the flood and avalanches and washaways of the roads, we can control in a particular manner. Okay, so moving to a second news. This is mainly about the coup in Gabon. So Gabon is a country in South Africa, and the coup term means it is like means capturing of the government, like a violent movement, like all these things are like coup. Okay, so this is relevant in international relations where the effects of politics of countries on India's interest. So how it affects our relations. Okay, so this topic have relevance in prelims as well as in mains. In our last question in 2023, in our last prelims, there was a question like, in recent years, Chad, Guinea, Mali, Sudan caught an international attention for which one of the reasons common to all of them. So first one here, discovery of rich deposits of rare earth elements, establishment of Chinese military bases, southward expansion of Sahara Desert, and the successful coups. Here, if you are already aware about this news, or if you are a person who is continuously reading the newspaper, you will get the answer easily. This is about the successful coups, that is the coup in Niger. So, in this view, this news is really important in our UPSC exam. So Gabon is a country which is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so Atlantic Ocean in the west, and also it is a former French colony. And it shares its borders with the Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, and Republic of Congo. And these have more urbanization as well as the economical importance. Okay, so this is map based aspect. This is really important in prelims perspective. So about the Gabon, it is a Central African nation and which is rich in oil, but here is poverty and political instabilities here. Only because of political instability, the coup have occurred. So coup means it's a sudden or illegal and often violent change of government. So here the coup attempt took place due to allegations of election fraud and corruption against Gabon's president Ali Bongo. Okay, so this is the news. So here the coup is mainly happened because of the poverty and mainly the political instability. And the importance of Gabon is it has the one of the highest urbanization rates in Africa, with that more than 4 in 5 Gabonese citizens living in cities. And also it have the economic importance too, because it is the fourth largest oil producer in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, so these are the important aspects of economic aspects in Gabon as well as the urbanization aspects in the Gabon. Okay, so this is the main reasons they are focusing on the Gabon scope. It will affect other or means our international relations too, because it have strong economic growth over the past decade. It was driven mainly by the oil and manganese production. So these are the points. So other coups have been occurred in Africa. It is mainly in coup in Niger, which have already asked by UPSC 2023, and crisis in Sudan. It also have asked by UPSC in 2018, and Burkina Faso coup. It was already asked in UPSC, and military coup in Mali. So this is really important in our UPSC perspective. So these are the recent issues or the recent coup that occurred or recent in news. So the coup, once after the occurrence of coup, it will resulting into continents changing geopolitical dynamics. As already we discussed that some countries means the government were in French colonies. Okay, so all these countries were former French colonies. Like Mali and Burkina Faso, now the Russians have expanded their reach after the coup. So this is like a new political dynamics as well as the trade relations. Everything will be changed after this coup. And they, when considering the Gabon, it replaced France with China as its more important trading partner. So, moving to our next article, which is about BRICS. This is relevant in GS paper 2 IR. We know that it's bilateral grouping, regional groupings, and effective policies and India's interest. So everything is related in this topic. This is mainly from international relations. Okay. As we know, recently Johannesburg they conducted the 15th BRICS summit. Okay, so it's called Johannesburg Declarations. So this is the turning point in modern history because it is focusing on the strategic autonomy in a multipolar world order. So how we will attain the strategic autonomy in a multipolar world order by means of Johannesburg Declaration. So, the 15th BRICS Summit was conducted on Johannesburg, from where they announced that BRICS had invited 6 new members. Previously, we had 5 core members or the strategic members, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So, after that, we are adding 6 new members. So, 3 are from West Asia, 2 are from Africa, and 1 is from Latin America. So Iran, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Argentina. So these are the 6 new members. So how it will change our multipolar world order, or how it will affect the Western based politics or the strategic parties. So this is the thing now we are going to look. So BRICS, they have it is a 5 member grouping, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And it have 2 major institutions. The first one is New Development Bank and second one is CRA, that is the Contingent Reserve Arrangement. So the New Development Bank, it is to provide the development assistance, as well as the Contingent Reserve Arrangement is to support the countries who are facing short-term balance of payment pressures. So this is the 2 main institutions by the BRICS. The main news is about the BRICS and West-led world order. Already the BRICS members have a dissatisfactions about the West-dominated international institutions. And we know the majority international institutions had emerged after World War II. So, the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, United Nations, and its various bodies, these are the major international institutions which is West dominated. And in United Nations, the most important one is the United Nations Security Council. And also the recent World Trade Organizations. So all these things are reflecting yesterday's world. This is according to the BRICS countries. So the United States has led the Western alliance in both the political as well as the economic areas. So this is the main concern of the BRICS countries, and that's why now they are focusing on the new innovations in order to create a strategic multipolar world order. So here the BRICS challenges this West-led world order. How they are challenging? First one is they promote intra-BRICS economic and political cooperations, as well as build the institutional outside Western control, and they are taking lots of reforms in order to accommodate the presence and interest of the emerging economies. So by combining all these countries, or by working together or mutually with all these countries, the BRICS can challenge the West-led world order. And about the Johannesburg Declaration. So according to this declaration, that is the strategic partnership is focusing here, and it will be directed at achieving a more representative, fairer international order. So this is the major focus of BRICS. Now, BRICS have 46% of the world populations, as well as the global GDP will go from 31.5 to 37 percentage in case of the PPP, that is the purchasing power parity. How? Later it was 31.5 percentage. Now it will be 37 by the addition of 6 members in BRICS, and far ahead of GDP of 30.7 percentage of Group 7 countries. Right now the G7 countries have 30.7 percentage, and the addition of 6 members in BRICS group, it will create a PPP of 37 percentage. And also we have the 5 core members, and we know that the Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. These 5 core members are account for global export as well as the global imports. Here the 23 percentages are in global exports and 90 percentages are in global imports. So what will happen once after the addition of 6 new members? So it will increase 3.7 percentage in global exports as well as 3 percentage in global imports. So this is the positive aspect after this declaration. So it will have a major impact on the energy sector too, because out of the global oil production of about 19 million barrels per day, now we will get 42 percentage of global output with the help of new members, and earlier there was only 20 percentage of global output. And there is also changes in the geostrategic value too. So BRICS will bring the considerable geostrategic value to the groupings. How? Because already the West Asia have the political as well as the developmental aspects. Everything is based on the new strategies. So the West Asia are already closely tied to BRICS members. Here 35% of Saudi oil production goes to China and India. And in considering the Russia is the major oil supplier to China as well as India, and also now they are focusing on Brazil as a market too. And when considering the India, despite the US sanctions, they are just increasing their oil productions and they are exporting to China. And when considering the Egypt and Ethiopia, they have their important strategic presence in the Horn of Africa and Red Sea. And also Argentina. Argentina is the second largest economy in Latin America. So these are the important aspects. Okay, so what will happen? The Western organizations will talk about this and they will criticize this, because we are just focusing, the BRICS is focusing on how to overlap or how to overcome the West led institutions. So there will be criticism from Western commentators too. So they are just telling that they have no shared vision as well as they are just like a talk show. Actually, these criticisms have a little substance, and it proved by the addition of 6 new members. And the BRICS members already have agreed about to encourage the use of local currencies in internal trade and the financial transactions between the BRICS and other trading partners. So the declaration reflects the shared views of the members on several political issues. Let's look on that. First one is the centrality of UN, that is United Nations, and problems in West Asia like Syria, Yemen, Palestine, and they are focusing on Arab Peace Initiative and Iran nuclear agreement, and also the BRICS countries are focusing on the war in Ukraine and the global terror. And the second one is the outlook for regional as well as the global affairs. So the new BRIC members from the West Asia, they are already fits in political and economic frameworks. How? Because from 2020 onwards, Saudi Arabia and UAE were focusing on their independent foreign policy paths by ignoring the USA. Also, Saudi Arabia, they are focusing on engaging with Turkey and opening interactions with Iran from April 2021, and also they pursue de-escalation and dialogue ending the Qatar blockade in January 2021. So all these things together sticking, it shows a common perspective or a common objective in BRICS countries. And when considering the UAE, they normalize the ties with Iran and focusing on expanding its maritime footprint across the Gulf, Gulf of Aden, Red Sea, Horn of Africa. That is from UAE, from Gulf of Aden, and to Horn of Africa. So this is the Horn of Africa, and this is relevant in map. Eritrea and Djibouti, Somalia, Ethiopia. So why it's called as Horn of Africa? Because of its horn-shaped land formation. This is the easternmost point of the African continent and which is projecting into the Indian Ocean. And it is a south of the Arabian Peninsula. So this is Horn of Africa. And about Iran. So their role in energy sector and as well as the opportunities for accelerated regional economic operations. We already know about the Chabahar port with India is associated. And this is about the BRICS expansion. And BRICS, mainly the 5 core countries are there: Brazil, Russia, China, India, as well as the South Africa. And other members are already applied to membership in BRICS, and there is also new members. And new members are Iran, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. These are from West Asia, and Egypt and Ethiopia from Africa. So from Africa, currently it's South Africa and Egypt and Ethiopia, and Argentina from Latin America. So these are the new countries that have recently joined in BRICS. So this is the end of today's discussions, and see you tomorrow.